All right, thank you all for joining. I am Kevin Dinneen, your co-host this evening. Welcome to The Light at Night with Lindsey Dinneen.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of The Light at Night. I am so excited to be back, and I am really excited about this week's lineup. There are so many exciting things happening on board, as you know, very well aware. And today we're talking all about ship life. So it's all about all the things that bring us together, why we're here, why we do what we do, and I cannot wait to dive in. So we've got a great lineup of guests today. We have Miss Holly, we have Miss Kelly, we have Randy and Kit, and we have Kevin. And so we've got all these wonderful guests who are going to share their perspective, both from the staff perspective, which is really exciting, and from the resident perspective, which is going to add a lot of flavor. Of course, every one of you has a reason for being on board today. You have your things that you love, things that you find maybe challenging, and things that you just can't live without, right? And we all have these memories and these special things that bring us together. We're all united in this love of this kind of lifestyle. So today we're going to celebrate that. We're going to talk about why we're here, how we got here, and what we're most excited about in the future. So there's just a couple of quotes that I wanted to share with you about life at sea that I found particularly fun. So Sir Francis Drake once said, "It isn't that life ashore is distasteful to me, but life at sea is better." Jacques Cousteau said, "The sea, once it casts its spell, holds one in its net forever."
In my cabin.
And then Mark Twain said, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than at those that you did. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from safe harbor, catch the wind in your sails, explore, dream, discover. And I think that about probably sums it up for the Odyssey. Yeah. All right, well, we have a great lineup today, and we're gonna dive right into a few ship questions for each other to get started.
Yeah, so we picked out a few questions to ask each other, and things that we thought the other person might, have fun talking about or have an interesting perspective on. So I will go ahead and get started.
Okay.
So Lindsey, what do you like most about sea days?
Okay, so I love sea days. I love port days too, but I love sea days for multiple reasons. One is it's nice to have and we'll get into this later on in the episode, but because we're still working full time, one of the things I love about sea days is I don't have the same FOMO that I do when I'm not up right away in the morning because I worked overnight, right? Yep. So I love the fact that I can sleep in a little bit and then still do activities on board that I love. And so I love the fact that there are dance lessons on board. That probably comes as no surprise. I love that I can, get involved in different activities. Like I loved the watercolor painting. That was brand new to me, and that was exciting to get to explore a little bit. And I just love the fact that, every once in a while I can just hang out at the pool, and even if we're working, it's still just this beautiful vista. It's really hard to be grumpy about.
Yeah, the best office I've ever worked in.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so Kevin.
Yes.
Is there something that you used to do one way that you learned to do differently because of this adventure?
Yeah, and it was one of our most recent stops. So we used to really rely on walking as our main method of getting around, and we were introduced to the idea that that might not be the best idea in every situation. So we had a recent stop where I had plotted out our walk. When I was using Google Maps, I think that I put the starting destination in the wrong spot. So when we were supposed to have a 28-minute walk, it was like an hour and something. It was like an hour and 20 minutes. And the route that it had for us took us to a dead end with a cement wall at the end. And we were headed to the beach in this particular stop, and it was a little nerve-wracking, and then it was like, I don't know, half a mile down this road, then we had to turn around and come back, and the worst part about it was my decision.
Definitely the worst part.
So, so when we're backtracking and now we have to walk even farther and
uphill.
Remember?
No.
Yeah, so one thing that we've embraced is taxis without thinking about it as much.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's funny because so we have this thing where we do love walking, and I love exploring a city on foot because you just wander into these alleyways that you never ever get to explore otherwise because you just happen to find this random little spot to visit. But I will say there have been a few times where we've gotten ourselves into these, we think it's going to be like a 20-minute walk. It ends up being an hour walk, and it's in the dead heat. And I distinctly remember, for example, one time in Las Vegas where somebody decided walking was the right choice. And so we had our suitcases. We're walking across the Las Vegas, I don't even know, highway.
It was a highway overpass. Like, there was no one walking.
Because you shouldn't. And so we were walking with our suitcases, and I don't even know how hot it was, like not 100, who knows,
It was
Vegas.
around 100, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we finally get to the hotel, and then the hotel staff upon check-in goes, there's a shuttle between the two places.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't learn my lesson that first time, but now I have.
We'll see. Yeah.
Okay, so what has been something that surprised you about yourself while being on board? Because you've been on board, I'll put it that way.
Okay. Okay, let me think about this. I think one thing that surprised me, actually, I had always wanted to try again when it came to art, fine art. I am not good at it, and I grew up thinking I was completely incompetent because I took art lessons and it just didn't, probably user error as it were, but it didn't translate to my brain the way I was taught, and so I just felt like I couldn't do anything, and I was like, that's really frustrating. And so, so then we had this lovely watercolor instructor, Sarah, come on board, and I thought, okay, I'll just give it a try. Worst thing that can happen is I'll just laugh at myself. It'll be fine. And the very first painting that she had us do was just this lovely sort of boat on the water. It was simple. Even like for me, I thought, okay, I can actually accomplish this. It was simple, and she explained every single step of the technique, and I did it, and I really liked it. And then I went and showed Kevin. He was like, wait a second, that's your first watercolor painting? And I got really excited. So I think even though I would not call myself competent at all, like I still have a lot of learning to do. That was something that surprised me. It was like, oh, well, maybe actually if I try again on various things I didn't think I could do, maybe I actually have a chance. So that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what has been the most surprising thing that has happened on the ship for you?
Okay, I'm speaking to people in an audience with lights on me on a regular basis. That is very surprising to me. And
Sorry, you're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm also dancing in front of people. Another choreographed dance is coming up. That'll be my second one in my career. So both of those things sort of kind of got me out of my shell in a couple of different ways.
Yeah.
In high school, I had really bad stage fright, so much so that I would shake and like forget to breathe and hyperventilate and everything and not be able to talk at all. And so for me to be able to talk to a crowd like this and feel comfortable, I don't even worry about it now. That has been very surprising.
That's awesome. So I think I have one final question that's kind of for both of us, but what was something that was foreign at first that is now normal?
Am I going first or are you?
Either way.
Okay, so I'll say when we first started this adventure, getting back to port before the ship left was pretty important. It still is. When I say pretty important, it was the only thing that I could focus on, and I could not have fun during the last few hours that we did anything. So I'm the kind of person where I get there a day ahead of time. Even if that means it's an extra hotel night, whatever it is, like that's just how we used to do things. Now, I think recently we got back to port 20 minutes before, or the final call, last call, whatever it is. All aboard. 20 minutes before all aboard, and it was not a concern. It was we're going, and we'll get there when we get there, and so having this sort of it kind of became normal that you maximize your time somewhere, and then you get back, you do your best to plan, and it'll probably work out. And
hopefully
it doesn't make sense to worry about it as much as I used to. So I would say that would be something that is now more normal than it was.
Yeah. And then I would say I have been kind of like, at first it was so startling, and now it is very normal, but I still have to kind of catch myself of, you'd go out for the day and then you'd come back and you have dinner with people and you go, okay, so what did you do today? And it was like, well, we, hopped on a train up to Tokyo, and your everyday conversation is like, or I took the train from Tokyo to whatever, and I've been there for 2 nights and I came back, and that's your normal everyday conversation? What?
Yeah.
Yeah. But now it gets normal, and so I have to still pinch myself going, oh my goodness, this is what we get to do. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, anyway, that is our little experience, but I would really love to bring up our first guest to the stage, Miss Holly. Please come over. All right. Well, Miss Holly, how did you first find out about the Odyssey, and what drew you to it?
Well, the evolution of residential cruising has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
I looked at the world before it was built.
Okay.
And they're not pet friendly, so that wasn't going to work for me.
Sure.
I put money down on storylines, which I put down in 2020, and when I put my money down, they said they'd be built and sailing in 2023. They still haven't cut steel. I was spared the life at sea debacle by my cat captain because they wouldn't let me have a balcony with a cat, but I did not escape Victoria Cruises Line.
Oh.
So, yeah, there's about 80 of us who have found each other online, and nobody has gotten their deposits back. Yet they continue to market and say that they are a viable entity. But guess what? We're sailing.
We're here. We just celebrated 1 year.
We're here. We're doing it.
Now, you had previously lived on a boat, is that correct?
I did. It was my winter home for the bulk of 17 years, with the exception of 5 years when I was married in the middle. But yeah, I kept her as my winter home. But I am not like the boaters that have really used their boats.
Okay.
I would pick a really nice marina and I'd plop the boat there, and if it needed to move, I'd hire a captain, or a friend would run her for me. But we've got some really accomplished sea people on this ship, and I hope they share their stories with you coming up.
Yeah, indeed. So what about living sort of on water has always appealed to you?
You know, my parents used to joke that I was switched at birth. I love the water. I just love it. And I don't know why. It wasn't in my childhood. When I turned 16 and would beg the keys to the car, I would drive the 30 minutes down to downtown Milwaukee to Lake Michigan, and I would walk the boat docks and I would just want to be one of them. And you know, it's not something easy to break into. When I was married to my first husband, we were a big sailing family. Our son was a really good little sailor. The happiest memories of my life have involved boats and yacht clubs and just being on the water. And I don't know if any of you stopped to look outside today. It was just so incredibly majestic. You can't help but say, thank you, God. You know, you can't.
That is so true. That is so true. Yeah, and so you've always loved being on the water. You've always loved that experience. Is it something that you find calming, or is it? Well, I don't want to put words in your mouth. What about it do you think is the most wonderful thing?
My friends used to joke that if I'd go 30 miles inland to a polo match, that they could see that I was struggling to breathe. I've lived on the water my entire adult life. So for me to not look at water, it is a bit anxiety provoking. You know, mountains are pretty, deserts are great. I don't think I could live there. And I don't know what it is, but it just is a part of me.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you love the most about living here on this ship?
Well, this is my 4th cruise around the world.
Okay.
My first one was over the millennium on a converted Greek ferry. Before there were rules, we made it to Antarctica.
Oh.
If people have been disappointed here, I would have hated to see them on that ship. But it was the most magnificent experience. And after the initial shock and dismay, everybody pitched in, like the same thing with Speaker's Corners. We made our own entertainment, and we still hold reunions for that ship every 2 years, even though a whole lot of the passengers have already got the ultimate stamp in their passport to heaven. We have a monthly email newsletter that continues, and that's after 25 years. So when you have that bonding, doing something you truly love and exploring, it lasts a lifetime. I'll incidentally say that one of the women I met from that cruise will be aboard soon. Her name is Nancy Weisenfeld. She is the most intrepid traveler I've ever met. Ooh. So by all means, grab her for a dinner or a lunch. She'll be amazed at her stories.
That's incredible. And okay, so what is one thing that you are, and I know that's hard to pick one, but what is one thing that you are most looking forward to in the next, say, few months? About that.
I don't know. I don't know. I am one that doesn't look at the itinerary.
Okay.
I don't know where we're going. I don't care where we go. I don't care where we don't go.
Yeah.
I know that irritates people. But I am here to live on a ship with the man I love. Who happens to have 4 legs and can't be done on any other cruise ship in the world.
Exactly.
So, you know, I am blissfully happy, and that's why I'm here.
That is beautiful. Excellent. Thank you so much,
You are
Holly.
so welcome. You guys are a tremendous addition to the ship.
Thank you.
Thank you, honey.
That's great. Thank you. Next, I am super excited to hear from somebody you all know and very much love, because she helps us understand what's coming up, when, where, how, why, all the good things. So without the next, here we go, Miss Kelly.
What a great intro. She doesn't care where we're going, and
I know, right? She's just happy.
and that's my job.
That's exactly what you want, though, right? Happy people. So share a little bit about your job. What attracted you to this particular position?
So I actually can I go back a little bit?
Of course.
I'm just going to answer some questions that you asked her before.
Perfect.
Which is what, so I went on my first cruise in 2007 to Alaska, and with my mom and her partner, Ron Voyage, and not his real name, but it was their first cruise as well. And so it was a princess cruise, and we went, and there were people doing the trivia, and I was like, I think I could do that. And so I started applying, and nobody hired me for 10 years. And so I got a job in Italy. I did theater for kids. I worked at a modeling school. I did a bunch of other things, but whenever I was between jobs, I would apply for cruise ships and never got a job. And so then I had a grown-up job for several years, and then they laid me off, which was the best thing that ever happened. And after that, I was like, I don't know what I want to do. So I went to Europe, and I was in a different place every day. And I was just like, one day I woke up, I was staying in a hostel that had the most uncomfortable beds, and it was in Scotland, so the sun rose at 3 a.m. and I was just like, I am so happy. Like, I love being in a different place every day. I wonder how can I do this? Yeah. And so I thought about it, and I was like, going back to, if I were to join cruise ships, because as crew, when you start out, you have to share a room. And I was a grown-up by then, so I was like, I don't know if I want to sleep in bunk beds and share a room with people and share my space in a teeny tiny space. But I think I'd done all, and also as crew, you live and work with the same people. And so you can't go home and complain to them, to your family, and or complain about them. And so, but I was just like, I was in a different place every day, and I loved exploring, like, just loved seeing the world. And so I was like, I think cruise ships is the way to go. And so then I applied and had to pay somebody to give my resume to somebody from HR so that they would hire me. And then got a job at Princess and was there. On my second contract, I was promoted. And then almost a year ago, Princess restructured their entertainment department, and they decided to give me a demotion. And so, not yet. They just restructured. So they were just like, you don't have a job anymore. And I was like, okay, I've been here before. And so I had a friend who'd worked at MSC who'd contacted me a year and a half before and said, there's this job with MSC where you are an American ambassador, and like you go and you help the Americans traveling around Europe on MSC. And so I called her and I was like, is that still a thing? And they were like, we can get you on a ship by the end of the week. And so I did that, and that was a ridiculous job. And so I was there doing this ridiculous job in Northern Europe in the winter, but I was really happy to be in I was happy to be in Europe. Yeah. I was seeing the world, and I was helping Americans cruise. And I got a call from my friend Lauren, who I had worked with on the Diamond Princess, and she was like, I'm on this ship. And it was New Year's. I remember, like, it was New Year's Eve, and I was in the Netherlands, and I got this voice note from her, and she was like, I'm on this ship. It's really weird. The people live there, so they never leave. And the ship is old. Things don't work really well, but I think you would really like it. And like, there was something in my gut that was just like, yes. I was like, that's what I want to do. I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. And so at first she was like, okay, so you would do all of the entertainment. And I was like, okay, that sounds good. I've done several long cruises where I was like, I think I have about 3 months worth of stuff before I need to start repeating things. And so then we were going through the PIP. She was like, send me your resume. I'm going to get you in. And they're like, okay, now this new company is taking over, and now they want a destination presenter. Can you do that? And I was like, sure. And so never done this before.
Details.
But like, I put together. I mean, what I did for Princess, the thing that I like, that was the job when I was laid off. I was like, I know I love acting because that's what I trained to do. And I know I love traveling, and so I went on cruise ships because that was going to be my travel job. And then we started doing, doing the entertainment. I was like, well, trivia, that's just like reading questions, right? And then I realized that it's creating an experience, and it. You know, you can walk in and say, oh yeah, anybody can do that. But I had so much fun putting everything together and creating those experiences. And but what I do on vacation is I go places I've never been before and I research what there is to do. So now I just put PowerPoints together to tell you what there is to do in these places.
Excellent. Love it. Yeah. So you went through some actually pretty intensive training in order to have the ability to come on as crew, yes? Can you speak a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah. So that was, not to do this job, but for the safety, for the safety part of it. So we were required to do something called STCW, which I looked up one time to see what it stands for, and I can't remember. But it's something about training. And Hidea, you know, right? Am I here? Yeah. It's like safety, watchkeeper. Oh, she's Googling. That's what I did too. Yeah. But so you have to do this training, which I did. They managed to get around not doing it for Princess, so I was like, what is this thing? And so it's only I live in Sacramento, California, near Sacramento, and the closest one to where I live is in San Diego. And so I figure if I had to buy a plane ticket and stay somewhere, I should do it in England. And because they have more ships there. Naturally. And also there was this training facility that's on the Isle of Wight, and I'm a big Beatles fan. And there's that one song where they're like on the Isle of Wight, and I was like, well, I've got to go see the Isle of Wight, and I may as well do some intense safety training while I'm there. And so we did 5 days and stayed in a dorm, and the mattress there was more uncomfortable than the mattress in the hostel in Scotland where I decided to join ships. But we did 5 days of training. So day one, so we did first aid training. We learned about the equipment that is in the lifeboats. We pulled them all out. We had to put on these big safety suits or these floating suits and go and jump in the river and save each other, and then climb into a life raft, which is different from a lifeboat. And then we had 2 days of firefighting, where we went to this facility and they had containers and they would set a fire, and we had to put on all of the gear and go through as a team. And I had a team member that was not very intelligent and wanted to be the team leader. And but we went through the thing full of smoke and tried to put out the fire, but had 2 days of fire training. And the best, because most of the people on that training thing wanted to work on yachts, and I was there, and they were like, and what are you going to do? And I was like, I'm going to work on a cruise ship. And they were like, you're never going to use this. And I was like, I hope not. Yeah. So So for those of you, when you say because we have, if you wanted, Villa V to hire you, and they're like, oh, to be crew, you actually have to go do this 5 days of training where you have to jump in the water and save people and climb into a lifeboat and then put out a fire.
Yeah, and there's continuous training, right? I mean, you obviously have your drills quite regularly, but then there's also, do you have to get recertified or something like that as well? Yeah,
we also have to, we have a medical that is only good for 2 years. And so it's from the day, so if your contract doesn't line up with it, the medical has to be good through the end of your contract. And so my medical is good through January 29th. And so my contract was meant to go until September 15th, and then it was extended to November 9th. And then I might be staying longer than that, but I can't stay longer than January unless I find one of the there's one in the United States that does
Wow.
it. And yeah, it's in Miami. And there's one doctor that does it in Miami. And otherwise, I thought Manila might be a good place to do it. They've got a lot of Filipino crew members, but we didn't do that.
Dang it.
Yeah. Did you figure out what STCW stands for? Yeah.
Standard of Training in Watchkeeping.
Look at you, it has Google. Yeah, that's what she said.
Oh my word, that's amazing. Okay, and what are you most excited for in the next couple of months before your next training?
Lauren coming back.
Oh, reunited.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, so we have a game that we like to play sometimes. It's called Around the Word in 80 Seconds. Very similar to the idea of, catchphrase or those kinds of things where basically we're trying to get each other to guess the correct word, but we're not allowed to say the word itself or any part of it. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can use gestures, you can sing if you're feeling so inclined, you do you. And so we have 80 seconds and we're gonna go back and forth a little bit. I think the theme is ship life as well.
It is ship life or cruise related terms.
Okay.
And we're going old school.
Tom Cruise.
Ding, ding, ding.
No, we haven't started yet.
Okay, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, now you can't say the word.
Yeah.
And so we're going old school, low tech night, so we actually have a hat for you to pull the terms out. Now, usually the audience gets to see what the term is because it's projected behind us. In this case, we all get to kind of play
it
along
out together.
and see if we can figure it out.
Okay.
So,
And then it's so like if we get it, so we're a team on this one. It's a collaborative game. So if we get it, we'll just keep going for however long until those 80 seconds are up.
Okay.
Would you like to start by delivering the clues or receiving the clues?
I'm easy. Whichever one. Do you want to decide?
Sure.
No. Okay.
I'll start by giving the clues, I guess.
Okay.
All right.
okay, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. And you let me know when you're set up.
Yeah, working on the timer right now. Okay,
Bunk beds.
get ready, get set, go.
Oh, okay. So this is an object that is dropped down into the water.
Anchor.
Ooh.
This is a fabric piece
Curtain.
that helps
Sail.
with. You are so good. This is what you were talking about earlier. Not a raft, but a
Lifeboat.
correct. Woo. She is so good. This is your area of specialty. These are the
Destination presentations.
correct. Also, specifically the kinds of activities that you help organize and.
Entertainment? No. Trivia.
But it's specific to the country that you might be going to. So it's like a
Excursions.
yes, but another word for that.
Tour.
Correct. Okay, where we if we don't anchor, where we come up.
We dock.
Correct.
25 seconds.
Oh man, we're on a roll.
We can relax.
Oh, she's got plenty of time. Okay, so the the first word is what you just said, not excursion, but
Tour.
okay, and then the kind of vehicle that helps us get from one
Guide.
The vehicle that gets from one
Tour
place.
van. Tour bus.
Yes.
3 seconds.
What we're on right now is a
Boat. Ship.
yes.
I hope you have enough.
Ooh, I hope so too. We're on a roll.
We'll see if I'm as good at giving clues.
All right, here we go.
You ready?
Ready, set, go.
Oh, it's the thing you go on outside that is not a tour. That I said, but it is
Excursion?
Yes. It's what we are on. It's the word that we've used many. Tom.
What?
Tom.
And Jerry.
What are we talking about? We're on a world
Cruise.
there. The opposite of port side.
Oh, starboard.
Yes. Oh, this is what happens when it gets really rocky and you have.
Seasick.
Yes. We like to do this, which is why we're here.
Sail, cruise, live on the water.
Yeah, but it's a word. Yeah, it's one of those. Can I pass? I'm gonna hold that for later.
Okay.
That one's too vague. Yeah. Oh, so this is the thing that is the ramp that gets you from the ship to off of the ship.
Oh yeah. Gangway.
Yes. Otherwise, no. Other clue was going to be West Side Story.
Oh.
He's the person who drives the ship.
Captain.
Yeah, and also is a cat on the ship.
Yeah, time's out.
All right. Thank you.
Just so you know, the one I skipped was travel.
That's too broad.
Right. So
Way too
I was just
broad.
like, yeah,
Vague.
too broad.
Yeah.
Too broad.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm pretty sure we rocked this.
I think we won.
I think we won.
You
All
definitely
right.
won. You both get prizes.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Kelly.
Thank
That
you.
was awesome. All right, so next up we have Randy, who is going to share a little bit even beyond his weird news segment, because one of the things I wanted to chat about is what it's like working remotely, being a digital nomad, as it were, on sea.
I don't know the remote thing about work. Yeah.
We're off to a great start.
Yeah, I know. Should I leave?
No.
Ba-dum-bum.
Are we good?
So my first cruise was 1977
Okay.
on a Costa cruise line in the Mediterranean.
Oh.
And I was a teenager still. So
Is that all you're going to say about it?
I've been part of the sea for a long time.
Excellent. What was your favorite part about it? What made you want to come back to a cruise?
Basically waking up somewhere different every day.
Seems to be a common theme.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, how many cruises have you been on, do you think, in your life so far?
Not a whole lot.
Okay.
So I did that in the Mediterranean. I did a river cruise in the Danube, a river cruise on the Yangtze, and Alaska. And I think this is the 5th.
Wow. And this is the continuous one. So you get to do this. Oh.
Yeah, this already is well beyond many times all those combined.
Yeah. That's incredible. So, all right. So can you tell us, you are still also working. So
I am.
we share this in common, and I see you have some of your night owl hours as well. So tell us about what it's like working on the ship.
So for 20 years, I lived in Colorado, and sitting at my desk, I looked at the mountains. We were on a mesa so that we could see very well in just about every direction. And I loved it, and I never got tired of that view, but we were ready for a change.
Yeah.
And I got the idea of living on a cruise ship and found out about storylines and looked at the pricing and thought, maybe not. So we were also a victim of Victoria and lost 5 figures on that.
Oh.
But, when we realized that's not going to happen, that's not going to fulfill our dream, Kit went back to her research and she said, we should take another look at Villa Vie. And here we are.
Yeah. So, in terms of the sort of daily, well, first of all, I guess, so sort of run us through, what is it like, you actually have one of the private offices, yes?
Right. I was the first one to ask for a private office, and
Nice.
they gave me first choice. So I
Ooh.
took the one tucked into the back corner,
Right.
so it would be a little bit out of the way, and it is, in fact, a little quieter and a little less traffic there.
Sure. And so you have a complete setup. You're able to do kind of everything that you want to do. Everything gets to stay there in place. When you're working, is it something where, well, first of all, I have a few questions, but one of them is, so when you're working, are you able to honestly stay focused? Because I know sometimes you're like, your window's right there, right? And you're like, here's this view.
You know, I've always had a great view.
Yeah.
So it has not been a problem staying focused. Sometimes I think, boy, I'd really like to go ashore, but I have a deadline.
Right.
And so occasionally I will miss something that I really want to see. But, you know, my feeling is we're going to go around again. This only takes 3.5 years. It's nothing big. And we'll go around and we'll probably come to some of these ports again and see, maybe from a different angle, slightly different port, but probably the same countries and same parts of the world.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to get a second chance.
Yeah. Do you ever find it first of all, are the deadlines that you are up against, are they based on U.S. hours or something like that where it changes? Well, basically we change, and so therefore...
I keep my computer on Colorado time because that's the only thing that's stable.
Yeah.
And you know, I was in Colorado for actually 25 years and was basically just, I've got it, it's part of my being what those deadlines are.
Yeah.
So I leave my computer on that so that I can kind of keep grounded and know when today's the day that I need to get things done. My phone has 2 clocks on it. Mm-hmm. You know, the ship time, which as you know, varies greatly. The last few days we've been on three different time zones in a few days. And that's a little rough sometimes, but I keep 1 clock on the ship, and because that kind of guides my day, because you know, meals or when I take meds or whatever. So I have that, and then I have I can see what time it is in Colorado. And even though Monday, when we record this show, is my big day to get my newsletter done. Every week, Monday, that's the people who pay for it. Yep, I'm working, really.
Yeah. Because
we're so far ahead time-wise because of the international date line, I have stayed up as late as 2 in the morning to get it all done, and it's still early as far as Colorado time goes.
Yeah, which actually works out well on some levels. I mean, it can be tough working overnight where you're like dragging and there's, you know, nobody coming around. It's a ghost ship. But at the same time, it's kind of... I
like that, though.
So what are your best, you know, especially for somebody who might be interested in working remotely from the Odyssey, what are some of your best tips and tricks that you would recommend? You know, what should you know? What should you be prepared for? What can help you?
It helps if your job is really flexible. I mean, I say I have deadlines, and I do, but you know, as long as I get it done by X time, I'm good. So I'm usually putting my newsletter out, you know, 8 and 10 hours early because of the schedule we're on currently. And you know, what are they going to complain they got it early? Come on. So, and they also don't complain if I get it late, because I was, you know, a volunteer medic when I was in Colorado, and occasionally my pager would go off, you know, 3 hours before deadline, and oh gosh, this is going to be a complex rescue, and I'm ending up in command of that rescue. Okay, well, it's going to be late. And they would always say, hey, don't worry about us. This stuff comes first. And I know what they mean, but for me, my job does come first. But once in a while, you have to put it on hold, even if it is first.
Yeah, I would echo that sentiment. It is very helpful if you have flexibility, even just in the sense of, because the time, you know, zones are very varied, and then it is helpful so that, you know, especially if you don't necessarily have to have a ton of meetings and things like that, where you're really tied down to a schedule, I would say that, you know, for anyone interested, that would be a really helpful component for sure.
If you don't have to have, you know, full up video conferencing, because sometimes the internet can be flaky.
Sure.
And that makes it difficult. And I feel for those people who, you know, I've got to have good internet, and then we pull into a port where that country hasn't licensed our satellite internet.
Sure.
It goes off.
Yeah.
Period.
Right.
And, you know, one time I did get off and check into a hotel.
Yeah.
Just so I could get my work done. And then you have to do that once in a while.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to flexibility, right? If you
Exactly.
come into this with that mindset of, life happens, things happen all over the place. Even if you were home and had a bad storm, it could knock out internet for a while. So, wherever home is for you. So I think as long as you kind of come into it with that mindset of I'm going to be flexible in every single way I can, you would still have a good time.
I always have a good time. I love my work. I enjoy my job so much. People say, you work such long hours. I'm having fun for long hours, yeah.
Love it. Speaking of your work, do you have a good story to share with us?
I do. I wrote this story this weekend. It has not been, the newsletter hasn't gone out, so you're going to be the first to hear it.
Breaking news.
It's quite a wild story.
Oh.
And I titled it Coffee with a question mark. And that's not funny until you circle back after hearing the story.
Okay.
The Polk County, Florida Sheriff's Office received a call of a man in a public park in Winter Haven who was allegedly fully undressed. By the time deputies arrived, they found he was fully dressed, so the deputy said he would give him a break and not arrest him if he left the park. The man left, but then trespassed on other property, so the deputy arrested Walter Freimeyer, 51, who has 25 prior arrests which have resulted in 5 different prison stints. Arrestees in Polk County receive a quick body scan to ensure they aren't smuggling anything into the jail. What they saw in Freimeyer's was shocking. We said, "Dude, what are you doing here?" recounted Sheriff Grady Judd. He said, "Well, I put that inside my body," recounted the sheriff. "That's right. He put it up the exit ramp, you know what I mean." And just did what did Freimeyer shove up his rectum? A full-sized thermos. "We had to take him to the hospital," Judd said. "They had to find a specialist," which I suggested would be a proctologist with a minor in mechanical engineering. And you're not the only one that has a red folder. There's his scan.
Oh my gosh. This is okay, we're gonna have to maybe pass this around. This is shocking.
It is.
Really.
And we'll add it into the video.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna give that back to you. Yikes.
I'll pass it around.
Casual viewing. Well, thank you, Randy. Thank you for sharing
Thanks for
your
having
weird
me.
news and all about working remotely. All right, Kit, will you please share with us about our upcoming Speakers Corner events here in just a second?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. And I'm real excited. We actually have Speakers Corners this week.
Yay! We're back.
The technical difficulty has been fixed.
Woohoo!
Our first Speakers Corner will be on Thursday, October 16th. Dr. Catherine Jacobs will talk about censorship in the Shakespearean theater. And this is really a continuation of the talk she did just before about Shakespeare's contemporaries in the Essex Rebellion. She had so much she wanted to share that she decided to do part
Encore.
2. Yeah, encore of sorts.
Yeah.
So that will be the 16th right here in Choral Club at 8:30. And then Saturday, October 18th, Don Jackson is going to talk about, he's going to share the results of our efforts for the Cebu earthquake.
Yeah.
And his talk is called Cebu Relief Review. We have so many wonderful residents on this ship. It's really exciting to see what we're doing. So Don will review that. And again, here, 8:30 on Saturday. So.
Excellent. Thank you, Kit.
Thank you.
So excited. We're back.
Thank you, Nan.
All right, and last but definitely not least, I am very excited to welcome to the stage our Mr. Kevin, our second Mr. Kevin of the evening, actually. So, thank you for being here. Is it working?
No.
Oh, do you want to switch? Hang on. Oh, well, try now. There we go. Details. So, Kevin, thank you for joining us tonight.
You're welcome.
So, would you tell us a little bit about why you decided to join the Odyssey?
I was planning my retirement, sort of. And I had come across, because I wasted a lot of time on the internet, learning about this ship called the World. And I said to the retirement planners that I was working with, I'd like to do something like that. But then, when I checked the prices on it, I said, this is a dream that will go unfulfilled. And so I decided that instead I was going to spend the rest of my life where I was in Arlington, Virginia. And fortunately, I had a next door neighbor who had a tiny yard and wanted a bigger yard, and he offered to buy as much of my yard as I'd sell him. My side yard was between us. So I said, all right, we can do that. And I said, I'm living in a slum house now. It's been 45 years that I've owned it. And I can take the money from selling the side yard and I can fix the house up so I can afford to stay in a place that is worth staying in. Didn't work that way. First, it took 5 years of county bureaucracy and incompetence to get to the point where we could actually put the sale through. And secondly, when I took the money and started looking at how much it was going to cost to get everything fixed up, I couldn't afford it. So what am I going to do? I don't have what I need to live the rest of my life. Well, I can sell the house as a teardown because it's not worth fixing up. Okay. And then somebody introduced me to a realtor who said, I will sell your house for you. I'll put it on the multiple listing service and everything else, but before I do that, I want to talk to every developer I know who builds in Arlington, because one of them, at least one of them, is going to have a client who wants to build something on the size of land that you've got available to sell. That happened. How much do you want? Well, I was foolish enough to tell her how much I wanted. And so the first one she found that would fit the bill, she stopped looking.
Oh.
And then I didn't get what I wanted because I didn't tell her that was what I wanted from the proceeds of the sale. I wanted the bottom line to be 6 figures, and I didn't get it. I got close to 6 figures though, and now I can afford to go live the rest of my life on a cruise ship if I can find the right cruise ship. But I had been following This Is True for like 20-something years, and I knew Randy Cassingham from just being his subscriber, and I felt like I could trust him because he knew what he was doing and I'd seen his work, and so I said, I need to do due diligence on this, and I don't have to anymore because I can trust Randy. So that was my due diligence, and so I had enough money to get on the Odyssey. Wonderful. I contacted them right after they finally finished all their tests and were ready to go to sea. And they said, yeah, we can sell you what you want for a huge amount of money. And I had that huge amount of money, so that was great. But I didn't know if if I would enjoy making monthly payments. I wasn't sure I could do that. That would require more income. So I found this Endless Horizons business, which was you can pay a bundle up front and the rest of the time you're paying $0 a month. Well, I can afford $0 a month.
Yeah.
So here I am.
Here you are. Excellent. Yay. So, what is your absolute favorite thing about being on the ship?
My absolute favorite thing about being on the ship is two parts. And it's either environment or heredity, I don't know which, but it came from my parents. I like learning about history and I like travel. And I get them both.
Yeah. What are you most excited about in the coming months?
Most excited about in the coming months? I have yet to cross the equator. We're going to solve that problem shortly. I will be learning about a whole lot more. I get to do what I've done on land. I get to be very heavily involved in contract bridge, and I get to raise funds for Alzheimer's Association. And that's what I like.
Yeah,
That's
and
great.
that's what you're looking for to keep doing. It's amazing. Well, thank you, Kevin. I really appreciate you sharing about your interest in coming on the ship and what you're excited about. And we're so glad to have you here.
I enjoy being had.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mr. Kevin. Appreciate you.
I don't get that game. That's okay.
No worries. All right. So that was so fun. I'm so glad that we got to hear from both staff and residents about why they're here doing what they love. I'm so excited that, again, one of the common themes tonight was about how everyone had these dreams of doing something like this, and the dreams were just never quite aligned with reality. And yet here we are. It's been over a year of sailing, and this is happening, this is working. So just to get to see, people's dreams come to life is a beautiful thing. So here's to many more, right? Well, whatever you choose to do this week, whoever you interact with, wherever you go, remember to shine brightly because the world needs your light. And I'd love to invite the cast up for one last little curtain call. Out of iron. Thank you so much. Cheers and good night, everyone.